Number 25, a teacher wrote the following set of numbers on the board. A equals square root of 20, B equals 2.5, and C equals the square root of 225. Explain, so we know we're going to be using our words, why A plus B is irrational, but B plus C is rational. So in past lessons, we have learned what irrational and rational mean, and that's going to help us a ton on this problem. So before we even get into the math part, let's just talk about these two vocab words. So irrational means that it cannot be written as a fraction. And rational means that a number can be written as a fraction. All right, so let's go back and read again. It says explain why A plus B. So I'm going to write that over here. A plus B is irrational. Well, they're saying that A is the square root of 20 plus B, which is 2.5. So let's type that in the calculator and see what we get. I'm going to hit second, the x squared button to get my square root. I'm going to hit 20, arrow out of the square root button, and then plus the 2.5. So A plus B comes out to this long decimal. I am going to write it down. So 6.972135955. So that's a really long decimal, right? But my rules up here that I'm trying to focus on is whether or not it can be turned into a fraction. Well, my calculator does that for me. So let's test it out. Is this number going to turn into a fraction? Can it be written as a fraction? Well, I'm going to hit math, and then that first one says frac. That stands for fraction, so I'm going to hit enter. And then I'm going to hit enter again. So it just stays exactly the same in the calculator, so that means it cannot be written as a fraction, so therefore it is irrational. So this ended up being true. So let's write that. A plus B is irrational because we have to explain, the sum cannot be written as a fraction. It also does not end, so the numbers just keep going on and on and on, and it does not repeat, so there's no repeating numbers there. So I'm going to add that also. It does not end or repeat. All right, let's take a look at B plus C, because they're saying that this is B plus C is rational. So now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to do my math. So B plus C, well, B is 2.5 plus my C, which is the square root of 225. 2.5 plus the square root of 225, and I get 17.5, which is a nice decimal. So I'm going to write that, 17.5. So it is a decimal that ends, but let's just check. Is it going to turn into a fraction? Math, enter, enter. And it does. It turns into 35 over 2 in the calculator. So I'm going to write that also. And then I'm going to write my explanation. B plus C is rational, just like they said up here, because it can be written as a fraction. You can also add in there that it ends. Okay, so these two pieces right here is how we explain why a plus b is irrational and b plus c is rational. Okay, and that is it for number 25.
26. Determine and state whether the sequence 1, 3, 9, 27 displays exponential behavior. Explain how you arrived at your decision. So if we get from, so how do we get from 1 to 3? Well, we could add by 2. But then the problem is from 3 to 9, we can't add by 2 to get this to get the number 5, because this is not linear, because it's not a constant rate of increase. So what's happening here, we take 1 to 3, we're multiplying by 3. 3 to 9, we're multiplying by 3. 9 to 27, we multiply by 3. This clearly is exponential behavior, because exponential is multiplication. So your answer could be written as this. This sequence displays or shows exponential behavior because the numbers, which in this case are 1, 3, 9, and 27, the numbers of the sequence are not increasing at a constant rate. Okay? The number 3 is being multiplied. To get to the next term. To the next term. And that's how you explain your answer. Again, not too bad of a question, just testing your knowledge on if you know the difference between linear and exponential growth. Exponential growth means multiplication. You could clearly see that right there. Okay, that's how you do number 26.
Number 27. Using the formula for the volume of a cone, express R in terms of V, H, and pi. So this means that I'm going to be solving for R. When it says express R, that means we're going to solve for R in terms of V, H, and pi. When it says in terms of, that means that these pieces, V, H, and pi, all must be in your answer. So these must be in our answer. Now, it says the volume of a cone. I know some of you might be thinking, well, I don't know the volume of the cone formula. It is on the reference sheet. They will give it to you, okay? So I'm going to write it down right here. It is V equals 1/3 pi R squared H. So that is the formula. All they want us to do is express R or solve for R in terms of V, H, and pi. So we have seen these types of problems before. If I'm solving for R, that means I'm going to get R alone. So for right now, I'm going to box this R squared until the very end. We'll get R by itself. So there's two different ways we can do this. I have a 1/3 pi R squared H, and I have this V equals. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my train tracks. And all four of these things, 1/3 pi, R, and H, are all being multiplied. So my inverse operation is division. So to get rid of all of those pieces that are attached to the R, I can divide them out. So I'm going to divide 1/3 pi and H, and I'm going to divide that out on this side too. 1/3 pi H. So they cancel out on the right side. I'm left with R squared. And I'm left with V over 1/3 pi H. So now I still have R. I still have this squared attached to this R. R is not completely alone yet. Well, the opposite of squaring something is taking the square root. So to get this R by itself, I need to square root it. I'm going to square root on both sides. Whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So what happens is this squared and this square root cancel out. So I'm left with an r on the right side, and on the left, I can't do anything with this, so I'm just going to write square root of v over 1/3 pi h. So this would be my final answer. I solved for r in terms of v, pi, and h are all in my answer. The other way that you might see this being solved is, I'm just going to rewrite my original. So I'm still solving for r. What I could have done is got rid of this 1/3 first. In order to do that, I would have to do the reciprocal. I'd have to multiply. So I could multiply by 3 here, or 3 over 1, and then I'd have to do that to the v. So I would cross it out here. That would leave me with 3v equals pi r squared h. And then I just continue with the steps that I did over here. Well, pi and h are still attached to that r, so I'm going to divide it out on both sides. These cancel. I'm left with 3v over pi h equals this r squared. Again, I'm at that last step. Well, to get rid of the square, I need to do the square root. I'm left with r equals the square root of 3v over pi h. So either one of these choices or final answers is correct. Okay, it really just depends on your preference of solving. All right, that is it for question number 27.
Number 28. The graph below models the cost of renting video games and a membership plan A and plan B. Okay, fine. Explain why plan B is the better choice for Dylan if he only has $50 to spend on video games, including the membership fee. So let's go ahead and evaluate where the 50 is. So the 50 on the graph, I'm going to zoom it in here. The 50 on the graph is right here. Okay, this is $50. And remember that this is a cost function. So he only has $50 to spend. He can't go above 50. So if we go across, we get this intersection point, and we get this intersection point. Okay, this intersection point you see here is with plan A. This intersection point that you see here is with plan B. So follow this down, folks. Watch this. Plan A is down here. Plan B is down here. He's getting more from plan B, so he's getting his money's worth. He's getting more games, or the number of games. He's getting more games from plan B as opposed to plan A, because plan A has a higher membership cost. And I mean, look, eventually A will become the better one just because of its slope is less than B. But at this point in time, for his $50, plan B is the better option. So we're going to say for Dylan that plan B offers Dylan more video games at $50 compared to plan A. That's it. Nice. Easy peasy. Not too bad. Okay. Moving on to number 20. Nope. Follow-up question. Bobby wants to spend $65 on video games, including the membership fee. Which plan would he choose? Explain your answer. So we're going to $65 now. So we go to $65. This is kind of my fives, by the way. This is $65. Go across. Aha. They intersect right there. So your answer is either plan A or B. It doesn't matter. You're getting the exact same amount of video games if you have $65. So we're going to say that either plan, because both plans yield, that should be a I before E except after C, except in words that sound like neighbor and way. All right, plan yield the same amount of video games at the cost of $65. Okay, not too bad of a question. Could have been a lot worse. Moving on to number 29. Here we go. Samantha purchases a package of sugar cookies. Love sugar cookies during the holidays. The nutrition label states that each serving size of 3 cookies contains 160 calories. Samantha creates the graph below showing the number of cookies eaten and the number of calories consumed. Explain why it is appropriate for Samantha to draw a line through the points on the graph. I did not like this question because it's a stupid question. I didn't think it was I didn't see the point of this question. I really didn't. But basically what you had to say is that you could draw a perfect line passing through these points. And you know what? No, do you know what? I kind of take that back, as in you could draw the line. And the reason why they want you to draw the line is who in the world stops at eating 3 cookies, 6 cookies, 9 cookies, 12 cookies? What if I want 2 cookies? What if I want 16 cookies? What if I want the whole sleeve? Sounds like most of us, right? What about 11 cookies? How about 10 and a half? I could split up an Oreo. I could split up a cookie. So, the whole thing here is they want you... What is going on here? They want you to just understand that if you draw the line, it includes every possible scenario of a cookie. What if you want 1 1/4? Obviously, you're not gonna have 1 1/4. But what if you want 1 1/4? So that's why the line has to be drawn. So your answer is going to be something like this. It is appropriate to draw a line through the points because there is a constant rate of change of 160 over 3. Now, if you were wondering, whoa, how did you get that answer? Simply just take the rise over the run. I chose the point 3 comma 160, and I just subtracted it from the point 0 0. That is your slope. So, you could say this. In addition, and this is where the variation comes in with the cookies. In addition, the line can be used for any variation of cookie intake. Not just every 3 cookies. Okay? That is your answer. Pretty simple question. Not too bad. Just understand that you could have any variation, and it's a constant rate of change, so you could draw a line. Pretty simple. Oh, God. Okay. Nope. This question it irritated the crap out of him. It's so bad of a question, I want to slap the person who wrote it. Pardon my French. But let me explain why this is such a bad question. And you'll see at the very end why it's a bad question. A 2-inch long grasshopper can jump a horizontal distance of 40 inches. An athlete who is 5'9" wants to cover a distance of 1 mile by jumping. Not even running, by jumping. If this person could jump at the same ratio of body length to jump length as the grasshopper, determine to the nearest jump how many jumps it will take this athlete to jump 1 mile. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to convert it to feet. No, to inches. Watch this. It says here in the problem, a 2-inch long grasshopper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 5'9" person, the athlete, and I'm going to convert the 5'9" to inches. Now it's not too bad of a conversion. 5'9" means 5 feet 9 inches. So you know it's 9 inches, but what is 5 feet in terms of inches? Well, you just take 5 feet times 12, because there's 12 inches in a foot. That gives you 60 inches. Add on the additional 9. This athlete is 69 inches. This is the height of the athlete. Okay? We got that down. Now, it says the ratio of body length to jump length. body length to jump length. Okay, so the grasshopper is 2 inches long. So the body length of the grasshopper is 2 inches. Its jump length is 40 inches. We're going to set that equal to the body length of the athlete, which is 69 inches, over the jump length, which is X. We don't know how far the athlete jumps, so you have to set up a proportion to get this question right. Let's go ahead and cross multiply. 2 times X is 2X equals, let's see, 40 times 69, I'm just going to tell you that's 2,760. Divide by the 2 on both sides. X is equal to, when you plug that into your calculator, you get 1,380 inches. But, ladies and gentlemen, what does that mean? That means that the athlete can jump this distance. Okay? So now what we got to do is we got to convert it into miles, because it says how long will it take for the athlete to jump 1 mile. So we got to convert inches into feet, then feet into miles. Just because I don't know how many inches there are in miles. So I'm just going to take 1,380 inches and divide it by the 12 inches, and that gives us a total of 115 feet. Again, this is still the distance jumped. Okay? So what this is telling you is one jump. This athlete in one jump can jump 115 feet. Now do you see why this question is so stupid? Because who jumps 115 feet? You know, people could jump 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, look, if you're in gym class, you do a running position, and like you jump into the sand, like, and you measure, or like you jump on like a mat, and the teacher measures, oh, you jumped this distance, 115 feet. Are you kidding me? Really? No, stupid question. And the reason why I didn't like this question is students, you know, I tell everyone, oh yeah, think logically. Like if you jump 115 feet, it's probably not the right answer. But it's the right answer. It's the right answer. I don't understand. Now you see my fury as a future math teacher. I wonder if I will still have these videos up when I become a math teacher in 5 years? 4 years. 5 years? I think it's 4 years. So now we take 5,280 feet and divide it by the 115 to convert it into miles. Well, this puts it into miles, which will tell you the amount of jumps. When you do 5,280 feet divided by 115 feet, you get the answer 46. Ladies and gentlemen, this athlete can jump 46. Now, that's if you round it off, okay? Because it does say to the nearest jump. So if you do 5,280 feet in your calculator, 5,280 divided by 115 with a decimal point, 45.9 has to take him or her 46 jumps to complete this mile. Bogus question. Moving on. Number 31. Write the expression 5x plus 4x squared times 2x plus 7 minus 6x squared minus 9x as a polynomial in standard form. When it says in standard form, you bet your bottom dollar that they are asking you for descending power order. Okay? So, got to simplify this as much as possible, people. Distribute that 4x squared in. So we get 5x plus, now 4x squared times 2x gives you 8x to the third. 4x squared times 7, 7 times 4 is 28. Carry along the x squared for the ride. Minus 6x squared minus 9x. We are going to combine like terms. The 5x with the negative 9x. The negative 6x squared with the, with the 28x squared, and the 8x to the third just as it's by itself. So we get 8x to the third. 28x squared minus 6x squared gives you positive 22x squared. And 5x minus 9x gives you negative 4x. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your answer. 8x to the third plus 22x squared minus 4x. That is in standard form. Moving on to number 32, last of the part 2. Solve the equation x squared minus 6x equals 15 by completing the square. If you would please take my advice, know how to do completing the square, not just in this course, but you need to know it for geometry and algebra 2. And you do need to know it, maybe in calculus, but it's good to just have that skill for the next 3 years of your high school career. In math, I should say. So what we're going to do is we need to keep letters on one side, numbers on the other side. So for completing the square, letters on one side, numbers on the other. So in this case, we're good. Letters on this side, numbers on the other side. That's fine. Because remember, we need to now add in an extra term on both sides of the equation, because what you do to one side of the equation, you must do to the other. We need to insert these blank spaces in order to acquire a perfect square trinomial. To get what's inside of this blank space here, we need to use the formula b divided by 2 squared. That means you take half the middle term, which is -6, and you square it. So we take -6 divided by 2, square it. We get -3 squared, which is the number 9. So we have 9 and 9. Okay, so now we have this. So this is kind of the part where people are like, okay, what do we do now? You need to factor this by the AM method. Okay, so what adds to -6 and multiplies to give you +9? Well, that answer is just x minus 3, and that equals 24. We're going to combine the x minus 3 and x minus 3. We get x minus 3 squared is equal to 24. Okay? So now what we're going to do is, in order to keep going with this, is we need to take the square root. Okay? So we get x minus 3, because we just get rid of that square. X minus 3 is equal to plus minus the square root of 24. Now, the reason why it's plus minus here, not the plus minus in that volume question, is because a positive could, a number, I should say, could be positive or negative, not the radius of a circle. Okay? So, I'm going to add the 3 on both sides. And we get x is equal to 3 plus minus the square root of 24. That could be your answer, or I like it simplified. I like to simplify that radical. The square root of 24 can be simplified into the square root of 4 and the square root of 6. The square root of 4 is 2. Carry along the radical 6 for the ride. Your answer could also be 3 plus minus 2 radical 6. Either one of those answers is perfectly acceptable. Okay?